That night, we crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Cole made love to me in my bed, slow, quiet, desperate love. The kind that comes from longing buried deep, and finally breaking through the surface. It wasn't just the act. It was the way he looked at me, the way he held me after, the way he brushed my hair back, and told me I was beautiful. I knew it was wrong, knew it was dangerous, but I didn't stop it. And the next night, we did it again, and again. Every night after Briggs went to sleep, Cole would slip into my room like a secret breeze. And I let him. I welcomed him. I thought we were careful. I thought no one would notice. But secrets don't sleep forever. And my grandson Briggs was starting to look at us differently. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, do well to subscribe and hit on notifications. To all my returning subscribers, thank you for always watching my videos. I still remember that morning like it was yesterday. The sun was pouring through my kitchen window just right, catching the little dust specks in the air like tiny golden fairies. I was wearing my favorite apron, the one with faded sunflowers, and humming along to an old Patsy Cline tune. My grandson Briggs was coming home from college for the summer, and I hadn't seen him in almost a year. My heart was swelling with joy. I set the lemonade on the porch table and glanced at the driveway, just in time to see his car pull in. I rushed out like any excited grandma would, arms open, eyes already wet. But when the car door opened and Briggs stepped out with that handsome grin of his, another figure stepped out behind him. That was the moment time stopped. He was tall, maybe 6 feet, with soft brown eyes and the kind of smile that could melt butter in January. His name was Cole. Briggs called him his best friend from school, and said he'd be staying with us for the summer. It's just for a few weeks, Grandma, Briggs said as they walked up. Hope you don't mind. I didn't say much. I just nodded, hugged them both, and tried to ignore the way my hands trembled when I touched Cole's shoulder. He smelled like pine and summer air. And something about his voice, calm, respectful, deep, stirred something in me that I thought had died long ago. That night after dinner I found myself standing at the hallway mirror, brushing my silver hair and putting on a little rose-colored lip balm. I hadn't done that in years. I wasn't sure what I was doing, but I knew I'd felt something. And by the way Cole had looked at me over his glass of iced tea, something told me he had too. The next few days passed like a dream I didn't want to wake from. Every morning, I'd hear the shuffle of feet down the stairs, the creak of the porch screen door, and then his voice, Cole's soft "Good morning, Miss Helen," floating through the house like a melody. Briggs would usually sleep in late. That boy always had been fond of late nights and lazy mornings. But Cole? He'd be up early, jogging down the gravel road, or helping me in the kitchen before breakfast. He even offered to mow the lawn and fix the broken screen door without being asked. There was a gentleness in him, a maturity I hadn't seen in a young man in years. One afternoon, Briggs had gone into town to meet some friends. Cole stayed behind, saying he had a headache and didn't feel like socializing. I offered him sweet tea and a little quiet on the back porch. We ended up talking for hours. He asked me about my late husband, Walter, and how long it had been since I'd lost him. I told him it had been 10 years, though sometimes it felt like 100. Sometimes like just yesterday. I don't know why, but I opened up to Cole in a way I hadn't with anyone else. I told him about my lonely nights, my dreams of the past, and how I sometimes felt invisible now. And then he reached for my hand. It wasn't quick or careless. It was slow, deliberate, tender. His fingers gently wrapped around mine like he was telling me he understood. Like he saw me. Our eyes locked. My heart thundered like a drum in my chest. I hadn't felt that alive in years. That night, long after Briggs had gone to bed, I was in the kitchen rinsing out the teapot when I turned and found Cole standing there. Shirtless. Only in his sweatpants. Can't sleep, he said. His voice was barely above a whisper. I didn't speak. I couldn't. I just stood there staring at him in the dim light. My breathing shallow. My hands still wet. He stepped closer. Do you want me to go back upstairs? He asked, but his eyes were already searching mine, begging for something neither of us had the courage to name out loud. I shook my head. No, iwisparat. That night we crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. We made love in my bed, slow, quiet, desperate love. The kind that comes from longing buried deep and finally breaking through the surface. It wasn't just the act. It was the way he looked at me, the way he held me after, the way he brushed my hair back and told me I was beautiful. I knew it was wrong, knew it was dangerous, but I didn't stop it. And the next night, we did it again, and again. Every night after Briggs went to sleep, Cole would slip into my room like a secret breeze. And I let him. I welcomed him. I thought we were careful. I thought no one would notice. But secrets don't sleep forever. And my grandson was starting to look at us differently. It was a Sunday morning when I first noticed the change in Briggs' eyes. We were sitting at the table eating pancakes. Cole had just come downstairs, shirt wrinkled, hair tousled, and that sleepy grin on his face. I was wearing my favorite blue robe, the one I thought I'd kept hidden in the back of my closet, the one I only wore for Cole. Briggs glanced between us. His fork paused in midair. Something flickered in his face. Confusion, suspicion, maybe even hurt. I quickly looked away, pretending to sip my coffee, but my hands were shaking again, just like they had that first day Cole arrived. That afternoon, Briggs didn't go out like he usually did. He stayed home, sat on the porch with his earbuds in, watching us, watching me. I felt the weight of his stare every time I stepped into a room where Cole was. That night, when Cole crept into my room, I hesitated. What if he knows? I whispered in the dark. Cole, already unbuttoning his shirt, looked at me with those soft eyes. We've been careful, he said. He doesn't know anything. But I knew my grandson, knew his moods. And that wasn't just suspicion anymore. It was certainty forming in his chest. A storm brewing behind his silence. The next evening, I caught Briggs standing outside my bedroom door. I don't know how long he had been there. I don't even know what he heard. He didn't say a word. Just walked away. Cold. Broken. When I went downstairs the next morning, Briggs was gone. So was his car. The plate from his breakfast was untouched. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, a guilt I couldn't run from. The house, once full of warmth and the smell of bacon or biscuits, now felt empty and shameful. Later that night, when Cole came to my room, I didn't let him in. I sat on the edge of the bed, robe wrapped tightly around me, eyes filled with tears I couldn't hide anymore. This was never supposed to happen, I whispered. But it had. And the boy I raised, the boy I loved more than life itself, he knew. And everything was about to break. Briggs came home the next morning. He didn't speak to me. He didn't even look in my direction. He went straight to his room, slammed the door, and left the house heavy with silence. I stood in the kitchen doorway, clutching my robe like a shield. My hands trembled as I stirred the coffee I had no intention of drinking. I wanted to call out to him, but the words lodged in my throat like glass. That afternoon, I found the courage to knock on his door. Briggs, I said softly. Please, baby. Let's talk. The door creaked open just a little. His eyes met mine. And what I saw there shattered me more than any raised voice could have. You really did it, didn't you? He said. I opened my mouth, but no lie could form. Not in the face of that kind of pain. So I nodded. Slowly. Shamefully. His voice broke when he asked how long. A few weeks, I answered, barely audible. He laughed, but it wasn't real. It was the kind of laugh people make when everything inside them is falling apart. I brought him here because I trusted him, he said. Because I trusted you. I didn't mean for it to happen, Briggs. I didn't plan it. It just happened. He stepped back, as if even my words were poison. You're my grandma. He's my best friend. Do you even understand what you've done? I reached for him. Please. He backed away. Don't. Later that evening, Cole tried to talk to him. I could hear them arguing in the backyard. Voices rising and falling like waves in a storm. You could have picked anyone, and you chose her? Briggs shouted. I didn't mean to hurt you, Cole replied. I love her. Briggs let out another bitter laugh. You love her? She's my grandmother, Cole. Then came the sound of something breaking. I don't know if it was a flower pot or Briggs' heart, or both. By nightfall, Cole had packed his things. I watched from the porch as he walked to the car, duffel bag over his shoulder, shame written across his face. He stopped in front of me. "I didn't expect any of this, Helen," he said. "But I meant every moment we shared." I nodded, tears silently falling. "I know, but it was never meant to last." He leaned in, kissed my cheek. Then he was gone. And just like that, the summer shattered. Briggs barely spoke to me after that. He left a week early, and when I hugged him goodbye, it felt like hugging a ghost. I watched his car disappear down the road, and I knew a part of him, of us, would never come back. Now the house is quiet again. No morning laughter. No late-night whispers.
No Cole.
Just the echo of a summer that burned too bright, too fast, and left nothing but ashes behind. I sit by the window some nights staring at the gravel road, remembering what it felt like to be touched, to be wanted, to be seen. And I wonder, was it love? Or was it loneliness dressed in desire? Either way, I lost something I may never get back. My grandson. My peace. Myself. Have you ever imagined yourself in this kind of situation? What did you do about it? Subscribe to this channel and hit on notifications for more interesting stories like this.